For members, the House is called to order. Honorable members, kindly be informed that there will be an information session immediately after. Any petitions? I see none. Any reports of select standing committee? I see none. Any reports and papers? I see none. Any notices of motions? I see the hand of the Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members. I hereby move a motion without notice that in accordance with Rule 31 of the Standing Rules and Orders of the National Council, the proceedings of votes 09, 04, 21, 39.
Thank you. Honorable, sign your motion and table it. Any notices of motions? See the hand of Honorable Mteka.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, I hereby move a motion in terms of Rule 54 of the National Council Standing Rules and Orders that on Wednesday, the 21st of May, 2025, I shall move the report of the National Council delegation to the Interparliamentary Union IPU 148th Assembly and related meetings held in Geneva, Switzerland, the 23rd to the 27th of March, 2024. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable, sign your motion and table it. Any notices and motions? I see the hand of Honorable Benson.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members. I hereby move a motion in terms of Rule 54 of the National Council Standing Rules and Orders that on Tuesday, the 20th of May, 2025, I shall move the report of the National Council's delegation to the 10th Interparliamentary Union Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians in Yerevan, Armenia, from the 12th of September to the 14th of September 2024. I so move. Thank you.
Honorable, sign your motion and table it. While Honorable Benson is taking his seat, Honorable Busiu, I see your hand.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members. It is my gratitude. I hereby move a motion in terms of Rule 54 of the National Council Standing Rules and Orders that on Tuesday, 20 May 2025, I shall move the report of the National Council Standing Committee on Transport, Infrastructure and Housing on the benchmark visit to the Parliament of Rwanda from 21st to 20th of September 2024. I so move.
Honorable, sign your motion and table it. No, I didn't give you the chance. It is Honorable Busio's chance and platform. Any person, I will just stop Busio to move so that you raise up. Thank you very much, honorable members. Any notice of motions? I see the hand of Honorable Abskafne.
Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, Vice Chairperson, Honorable members. I hereby move the motion in terms of Rules 54 of the National Council Standing Rules and Orders that on Tuesday, 20th May 2025, I shall move the report of National Council Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources, delegation to the 29th sessions of the Conference of the Parties, COP29. The related meetings of the United Nations Framework Conventions on Climate Change Conference in Baku, Azerbaijan from the 11th to the 22nd of November 2024. So I move.
Thank you. Honorable, sign your motion and table it. Any notices of motions? I see none. Thank you. Honorable members, I have been informed that Honorable Kennedy Simasiku and Honorable Israel Hukura will deliver their maiden speeches today. However, before I give the honorable members the floor, may I remind the House that in terms of Rule 52, Sub-Rule 2, I quote the rule, a maiden speech may not be subjected to interruption, interjections, dismissal, or attack by other members. End of quote. That is the Rule 52, Sub 2. I now call upon the Honorable Kennedy Simasiku. Is he around? Yes, to deliver the maiden speech. Honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members. I bring you fraternal greetings and well wishes from the residents of Choto location, Cowboy, Waiaha, Nova, Macaravan West, and Dairy informal settlements of the Gatima Mulilo Urban constituency, through you, Honorable Vice Chairperson, to all the members of this august House. Indeed, the people of my village, of my father's village, of Chisege Chavanyai, and my maternal village residents of Bara, wish to register their gratitude that one of their own is now a representative of this apex legislative house of the Republic of Namibia. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members. Most of the above mentioned, and it is representative of the majority, pleaded that I use this platform to highlight pertinent issues that affect their daily struggles so that their plight and aspirations for improved livelihoods and an urgent need to speed up implementation of government development programs is realized sooner. In this respect, they have directed me, Honorable Vice Chairperson, Honorable Members, to address this chamber on the following areas to be prioritized among priorities. 1. Provision of services. The residents of Choto, Makaravan West, and Nova, for example, still use the bush when nature calls. They have limited access to electricity in their homes. And this is where the majority of learners who are attending primary school reside. They fetch water from common water taps, in some cases at midnight or even later than that. This state of affairs is not unique to Katima Mayo, but is representative of the common plight of most informal settlements around the country. These residents of Katima Mulilo urban settlements sent me to ask that of the $500 million assigned for formalization of settlements, how much is the allocation for Katima Mulilo? And when will it be availed? But importantly, what is the time frame given for such a project to commence? Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, they say they wish for the National Council through its relevant subcommittees to monitor and ensure prompt execution of such a project. 2, health. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, Namibia is a signatory to many international statutes, including universal access to health coverage by the WHO. But not just health coverage, but quality accessible health coverage. This translates into having clinics, health centers, and hospitals in close proximity to residents. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, there is general consensus from the public that the government has done a commendable job in establishing health facilities countrywide. But there seems to be some red tape somewhere in the Ministry of Health that hinder delivery of quality health care. For example, an amount of 10 million was allocated for the upgrade of Katima Mulilo Intermediate Hospital in the 2024-2025 financial year. But little progress has been made, including the provision of equipment. Procurement of basic materials, medicine, etc. is a major challenge, forcing patients to buy medicine at private pharmacies at expensive costs. It cannot be allowed to continue. And more often than not, the blame goes to the politicians who never sit in procurement committees or sign off purchase orders. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, due to lack of equipment and facilities at Katima Mulilo Hospital, patients are transferred 500 kilometers to Rundu, and in majority circumstances to Windhoek for referrals. This daily and weekly ritual has put tremendous strain on the ambulance fleet of the hospital. And with one ambulance having clocked more than 800,000 kilometers and in bad mechanical condition. But worryingly, the ministry sought the services of private ambulances as a stopgap intervention, but there's one for this house to ponder. A single trip from Katima Mulilo will cost the ministry around $40,000. And if such services are utilized often, which is the norm, in a single month, if they use such private ambulance on 4 occasions, it will cost 160,000 Namibia dollars. And in 6 months, it will cost the ministry around 960,000. Honorable Vice Chairperson, this is enough to buy a brand new ambulance. I approached the ministry with this information about a year ago with a suggestion for them to buy new ambulances because the upkeep of old fleet and continued use of private ambulances was wasteful spending, but nothing happened to date. I again brought it to the attention of the newly appointed minister, and I'm hoping that she heard our plea. For how long can such simple logic need to be applied to ensure reliable ambulances services for the region? The residents ask. agriculture and food security. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, efforts to resuscitate the agricultural green schemes in Kavango East are extremely applauded and very supported or must be supported by the government at all costs. Food insecurity and hunger mixed with youth unemployment is a greater national security risk and threat, and therefore it is crucial that more green schemes around the country are established as a matter of urgency. Zambezi's region continues to be called the breadbasket, but certainly isn't. And though the traditional leaders availed hectares of land for agricultural purposes, nothing has been forthcoming from the Ministry of Agriculture. If anything, our traditional authorities are asking why there are no green schemes, whilst they have donated land. To the ministry responsible for agriculture, the people of Zambezi are waiting, and it must not take long. Honorable Vice Chairperson, our members, we must therefore stand up and ensure that Namibia is food sufficient, and therefore set short and medium-term targets for agricultural food production so that we become a net exporter and at all times have sufficient food reserves for times of drought. 4, natural resource redistribution architecture. Let me drink a bit of water. Natural resource redistribution architecture. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, our country is endowed with natural resources like diamonds, gold, uranium, and marine resources. There must be deliberate policies put in place to streamline the distribution of revenue generated from these sectors to directly be channeled to regional development initiatives through respective regional councils. In this respect, there is suggestions from the residents of Katima Urban that honorable members of this august house should consider amending the relevant natural resources legislation, making the way for fishing quotas, mining concessions to be allocated to regional councils, so that these funds directly fund the provision of water, sanitation, and other major services that our people on the ground so desperately need. It has to be done. In fact, it ought to be done because these natural resources belong to the greater Namibians, not a few privileged capitalists. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, this arrangement must also apply to conservancies. The current arrangement is anti-community economic empowerment. The communities who have taken risks and went out of their way to preserve the animals are given peanuts for it, as the middlemen who win hunting concessions are the major benefactors in a well-crafted scheme where conservancies are paid small change, while animals such as elephants are sold to trophy hunters for millions. The end result is that communities end up with pocket change for a little borehole here and chairs there for community meetings. It cannot be allowed to continue, and I therefore equally hope we consider amending the Enabling Act to pave way for greater share of the cake to go directly to economic empowerment and development. That said, allow me, Honorable Vice Chairperson and honorable members, to give a summarized brief report of the few success stories that were initiated by your late colleague, Honorable John Mukaya, and some that he addressed through this chamber, but unfortunately could not implement or witness, that we continued with in the past 3 and 7 months since I took over his reign after his untimely death. For the first time since independence, Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, the Ministry of Health has a human resource practitioner, and recruitments and HR-related matters are now fully done in Katima Mayoda and directly to Windhoek for approval. The Rundu office used to do that for Zambezi region. Namota senior staff and technical team are now based in Katima instead of Rundu. The NDF now do patrols and have a significant presence along the common border with Botswana and are amply equipped. The Zambezi Regional Council signed an MOU with the Chove district of Botswana to harmonize relations between our two peoples. Our hospital has 2 oxygen plants, the first time since independence. The regional MVA office has been completed. A new police station in Greenwell Matongo location is under construction. The new civic affairs offices is under construction. We have a new UNAM campus completed. There's a new primary school in Choto location completed late last year, and enrollment took place this year. And with all things being equal, we hope that it shall be renamed John Mukaya Primary School. To members, to mention but a few, and we are proud that together with the Constituency Development Committee, we managed to push through these developments. Finally, Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, allow me to pay tribute firstly to my predecessor and brother in arms, late Honorable John Mukaya, who was a member of this esteemed house. I was lucky and privileged to be part of his inner circle that planned and executed his campaign to run for public office. How unfortunate that he got involved in a car accident while driving back from my then workplace, where he stubbornly drove to see me, though we had agreed to meet in town later that day. To this day, I fail to understand why he didn't just wait for me in town. From him, I learned courage, values, purpose, friendship, the value of your team, and an odd bit of fun time here and again. I shall forever miss him. To Honorable John Likando, thank you for being consistent. And this opportunity to serve this parliament would not have arose was it not for your commitment to serve beyond titles and your quest to give others equal opportunities. To you, honorable members, our task must be simply to leave the country in a better place than it was before us. And the laws we enact must be for the common good of the grassroots. The legislations and policies that seem to perpetuate delayed service delivery, like the Procurement Act, must be refined to serve the masses, if need be, and now entirely in the public interest, and this House has such powers. Long live our independence, long live the liberation movement, long live the Republic of Namibia. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Simasiku, for your wonderful statement. We go ahead. I shall now call upon Honorable Israel to deliver his maiden speech. Honorable Israel.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson of the House.
Honorable. Oh, your mic is on. Yeah. You can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson of the House, honorable members, esteemed viewers. A very good morning to you all. Honorable Vice Chairperson, I rise today deeply honored and humbled to deliver my maiden speech. Allow me, before I do that, to first congratulate Her Excellency Dr. Netuma Nandi-Ndaitwah, our first female president on an election. And in the same vein, let me also use this opportunity to congratulate all members of the executive on their appointments, and equally so, the members of the National Assembly for the trust bestowed upon them by the Namibian people, irrespective of their different political affiliations. I would first want to introduce myself to this House. My names are Israel Riukwa, Yunjaye, Urira Mehi, Hukura. A very traditional name. And I was directly elected by the Namibian people of the Matago constituency in the Shoronjiba region. And I was born in a village called Okomakwara, in the Bitoto, raised, and this is the place where the former Speaker of the National Assembly, the late Dr. Mose Shitendero, also hails from. That is where I was born. My biological parents are Matthew Hukura from Kwauti and Miss Godatin Hukura, also married to my father, Mkweuga, from Orua village in the Bitoto. And I was raised by the late Chief David Disiro, because my grandmother, who was married to the chief, was the one who raised me up. And I was raised by my great-grandmother, Anna Hukomi Matundu Disiro, who was the wife of the late Chief David Disiro, as I said. Chief Disiro was a firm, a good decision maker, and a dedicated pillar of the Wairero people within their structures, and consequently presented great leadership qualities. During the mid-80s, I moved from Okomakwara to Okaswanjo, where I now met my grandfather from my mother's side, by the name Amon Maharukwa, who continued to raise me up together with my great-grandmother. My grandfather also served as a senior counselor and a special advisor to Chief David Disiro in his cabinet. And it is through his leadership that I learned skills on how to lead the community with accountability and vision. My primary school, I started in Obitoto. I completed my primary school there before I came to Windhoek to complete my secondary education, where my final years I spent in Kidmans, Giano, and after that, I then now spent some time at the farm assisting my grandmother and my grandfather, and then where later on I came back to Windhoek, where I now enrolled at the Namibian Academy for Tourism and Hospitality, where I graduated as an accredited tour guide, and later on also a Namibian national tour guide. And these qualifications earned me a job for over 16 years as a tour guide, taking people around the whole Namibia, including other countries such as South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and also Zambia. Honorable Chairperson, Vice Chairperson, and honorable members of this House, in the early 2000s, I was elected as a chairperson of the Farmers Association in Bitoto, and that is where my leadership skills were tested. I've moved from the chairperson of the association there to the vice chairperson of the regional union until I went up to the national level, where I met my two brothers at NNFU, with the name Honorable Kadongo Minya seated here, and also Honorable Karonda. And of course, we contributed a lot at those levels in terms of improving our agricultural sector, more specifically in the rural areas. At the NNFU level, I was then also nominated to represent young farmers at the regional level. When I refer to the region, I'm referring to SADC, where I was representing young farmers at Sakau, the regional body also trying to uplift the living standard of the youth in agriculture in the rural setups. I was then further also nominated to become Namibia's ambassador, representing the youth in livestock fisheries in, at the national, the continental level, Africa, where we had our offices in Kenya. The body used to be called AYL FAIN, and their headquarters were in Kenya, Nairobi. And then from 2015, that is when I joined active politics, even though I was a card-carrying member of my party, NUTO, from 2004. 2015, I was approached by my community, and they introduced me to active politics, where I was voted for the first time as the regional councillor responsible for Matago constituency in the Chodanjuba region. And of course, having consulted with my dear wife and family, they also allowed me to serve the Namibian people. And my wife is also seated here. Thank you for your support and for you being here throughout. Mr. Honorable Gunaihe, she's your mom. So I therefore wholeheartedly want to thank the leadership of my party, NUTO party, for that trust bestowed in me to have an opportunity to lead our people, the Namibian people from our constituency and the country at large. So I served as an ordinary council during my first term, and then again during the second term I was now elected to serve in the management committee of the Chodanjuba Regional Council under the great leadership of Honorable Malin Bakera, who was now then elected to become a member of the National Assembly recently, all thanks to her and her leadership, as we used to call ourselves the winning team of the Chodanjuba region. Another thanks also goes to Honorable Elder Felipe, a former member of this House, who also advanced to the National Assembly and thus made room for me to fill his position as a member of the National Council for the remaining period. Honorable Vice Chairperson, honorable members, I have got a lot of items that I want to bring to this House during the discussions. But I felt to go through them all now, I might not do justice to all of them, because I will still have time during the discussions to do so. But just to mention but a few, the issues that I would want to raise would be more on land, more particularly in the rural setup where communities are struggling with the land tenures. And of course, also land in the farmlands more especially where we have our generational farm workers. And I want to make a specific reference to the farm of Kamuru in the Chiranjiba region, where our elders, old people, are being treated badly. They are facing social unrest from the farm owner, who is actually not regarding them as Namibian citizens. They have to go through treatment such as being asked not to enter those farms during night time or after hours. Their animals are taken to other plots. They can't even get milk from these animals. So their houses are even in a dilapidated state. They can't even maintain them, because now the animals that they used to get their material from, like the cow dung to fix their houses, are even taken. So, honorable members, honorable vice chairperson, and esteemed viewers, on water resources, we are faced with so many challenges in the rural setup where our water infrastructures are dilapidating. More so, our officials who are supposed to maintain these infrastructures are faced with so many challenges. One of them being lack of proper fleet to address or to attend to the challenges faced by the communities, such as Tenga trucks and 4x4 trucks that will assist with the fixing of the boreholes. We don't have proper rigs to clean the boreholes, and I will air more on this on the discussions. And the vice chairperson or the members, their viewers, I will also tackle the issues faced by the youth and women in the rural setup, where our youth now are faced with so many challenges, where they don't have jobs, and therefore they are now finding themselves in very difficult situation where they are using substance or abusing substance, and we need to do something as legislators. We need to look at the health situation. My brother here, Simasiku, also touched on that, where our community members traveling long distances to get to health facilities. I have prepared speeches on those. I think we will, during the discussions, I will table some challenges faced by our community members, where I would want for us to look into upgrading our rural clinics to become health centers, where doctors will be present at the health centers to attend to sick people, and therefore long queues experienced at our referral hospitals will then be minimized, and we will, even at the local clinics where some people are being sent back in the absence of doctors at the clinics, those problems would be then addressed. We will then also talk on the road infrastructures, where we have long distances, gravel roads, like for instance from Gam to Grootfontein, where a sick person have to sometimes hitchhike from Gam to go to Grootfontein. And these roads are causing danger to our communities. We have already experienced so many accidents on these roads. Some lives were lost, and one life lost is one life too many. So, Honorable Vice Chairperson of this House, honorable members, and esteemed viewers, our Constitution promises dignity, equity, and opportunity for all. But for too many Namibians, the daily struggle, the access to government services that threatens food security, fuels poverty, and breeds disillusionment. Let us therefore now recommit ourselves to the responsive governance, to inclusive development, and to the voices of the people we represent. Let this House be not only a forum for deliberation, but also a chamber of action. The people of our region do not ask for charity. They ask for fairness. They ask for timely decisions. They ask for access to what is rightfully theirs. Let us honor that call. Lastly, I want to thank my predecessor, Honorable Bauyewa, also for the foundation that you have laid for me to be able to now take from where he left up to where we are now. And again, I want to thank my wife and my son, Turibamu, who are also here present, for their unwavering support. And I thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable, for your wonderful statement. Also, we welcome the two members with very hearty happiness, and also our spouse. Now you have come, our spouse, because this is the house of many 42 members who are here, and both we have spouses. Even those who doesn't have, I hope in secrecy there is some. We welcome them. So also our son who came with the mother to come and support the statement of the member. Thank you very much, and hope many spouses will come. With that, honorable members, now that you have delivered your maiden speeches, I look forward to your active contributions to debates on matters brought before the August House. Now it is open for you now to start debating, and we hope you are joining now the others in different debates. Thank you once again. Let's give them a word of applause and welcome them. Now, honorable members, we continue where the secretary will read the first order of the day.
Resumption of debate on reports. Report of the National Council Standing Committee on Education, Science, ICT and Youth Development on the oversight visit to selected youth projects in the Erongo, Kunene, Omusati, Oshana, Ohangwena and Oshodonjupa regions from 15th to 28th September 2024.
Thank you, Secretary. Honorable members, when this debate was adjourned on Wednesday, the 14th of May 2025, the question before the Council was a report by Honorable Anguo. Honorable Muteka adjourned the debate, and she has now the floor. Honorable Muteka may lead us through discussion.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chairperson, for this opportunity. Let me, in the same vein, congratulate the Committee on Education for a well-drafted report. I just have a few comments or a few things that I would want to touch on. In the report, part 7, or rather point 7.1.2, the committee had given very, very strong recommendations in terms of mentorship when it comes to entrepreneurship. However, I would want to perhaps also extend a further recommendation to the committee to say that instead of us only focusing on the youth that are entrepreneurs, that we motivate the ministry itself to lay foundations, that this mentorship that they are referring to is rather set out in all schools from a very, very early age. I am aware and take cognizance that we do have a module of entrepreneurship that is in our high schools. However, I don't think that it should be of a selected few. It should be something that should be cross-board and compulsory for each learner. We would want to look at sectors such as the VTC. These colleagues, when they graduate, have got a great opportunity to create employment for themselves and fellow young people, but do not have the necessary skills when they graduate from the VTC. So just a recommendation to add to the committee. I further want to also, I want us to focus on the table in their report under 3.1.10, which gives us the rate of the unemployment youth aged between 15 and 24. And I must say, Honorable Vice Chairperson, that this number is quite alarming, particularly that of Kavango East and that of Omsati. But I seek clarity from the committee, seeing that this is between the ages of 15 to 24, whether these are school-going youth or whether these are students or youth that are not necessarily in school. Because we would want to have a differentiation. One would want to see this number and say, but what do we do about this large number? I mean, for example, in Kavango East, the males are 81.1% and the females are 76.1%. We really want to understand what the situation is pertaining to this graph. Lastly, I really am happy with the report. However, I'm a bit concerned with the fact that I see stakeholder engagements with different stakeholders, but the most important stakeholder was not consulted. And the most important stakeholder is the youth themselves. So I want to motivate the committee themselves to perhaps find an opportunity to really engage the young people, because they say what better way to identify a solution than to hear it from the horse's mouth themselves. So let us have a conversation with the young people. Let us hear what their issues are, because sometimes what we think we are presenting to the youth is not necessarily what they need. I so move, Vice Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mteka, for leading. Honorable members, we have to go in this discussion. I just want to remind the members on this committee that the chairperson is not with us due to other commitments. But then the committee have also the Honorable Beto Chawionja, who's the vice chairperson, and Honorable Cosmas Katura, Jeremias Huyaman, Darius Benson, Sakil Nangula. These MPs, you are entitled to respond if there is any questions or comments will come. So the vice chairperson of the committee is be ready with others to interact on questions and comments. So we go ahead. Honorable members, any further discussion on the report? Thank you. I see Honorable Abraham. Your mic, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chairperson. In the minutes of us, I want to join the Honorable Mteka to thank the committee for well-crafted reports
special touching on the training of our learner while they are in a primary school. We are in the world where jobs is not available, and then we think that our learners need, when they exit from schools, they can create jobs when they are given skills, which is needed skills, either for vocational or either for entrepreneur, as indicated in the report. That such a subject is very, very important. That's why it needs to be implemented from lower primary to the higher primary to the secondary, so that at the end of the day, when our learners really at the senior secondaries, they have something they can do with their own hands, which is a part and parcel of them to create job for themselves and employ the others. That's why I want to applaud the committee, and I want to thank the committee. So I submit on our Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Abraham. Any further discussion on the report? I see none. Does Vice Chairperson, Honorable Shalyonja, have anything on that comment?
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members. Let me also thank you. I will respond to the two questions that I've then taken note of, but most of them were comments. Maybe before I do that, let me also then congratulate the two brothers and say welcome, and then let's push this wagon together and see where we are going to take it. Honorable Vice Chair, I like one comment that was then said by Honorable Simasiku when he said, if we find this house in point A, where we think that point B is a better place, then let's get it to point B and then leave it there for the other generation to take it from there. It's really a statement that I underline. But to come back to what was said, one really want to thank the honorable members for their contribution. And maybe just to say that our assignment or our report then was more of an investigative approach. Not that we initiated and then we were planning with the ministry for how they should initiate, because this is now mandate from different ministries, to be specific. But really, your contribution, especially Honorable Muteka, that you are saying it should not just be limited to the ministry, because the proposal is saying, when you look at 7.1.2, it's talking about UNAM, to be specific. But really, maybe UNAM was then just used, but there are also other institutions maybe that can play as role players. And when you look at it also, we are even mentioning the element of triple P when we are saying we should then encourage the public-private partnership going forward. When you look at the statistics of unemployed youth that was then mentioned as 3.1.10 on page 7 of our report, it's talking about unemployed youth, rate of youth age 15 to 24 by regions and gender. So this is now inclusive. It's not only school-going children. Maybe also one thing that is left from our side is just maybe as a reference, because this is now data that we took from somebody. We should have then put a reference that it came from who. Maybe that's just an omission. Maybe it's just an oversight from our committee. The other issue that you said we should really engage the youth. It's a point that we even raised when we were engaging the stakeholders that we spoke to, and say, when you look at some of these projects, the stage where they are, or the passions that you find within the members that are then have been incorporated, because it was a group of, in most cases, 5 young people put together to run either the 121 projects or the youth scheme programs. You could pick up that among them, some of them were like added just to make that an amount. But really we raise it, and then the ministry also deem it fit that there are issues that they need to revisit, and see to it how going forward they can see how they can improve when it comes to certain things that they have not really. And the good thing also is we were engaging because before we submitted the report, there's a new deputy director who's now responsible for the project. So we also said to him that please take what we have presented in the report. And because also one of our biggest issue was when you talk about the 121 constituency project, we were even emphasizing that not all regions have benefited from it, because so far only 24 have benefited. So the idea is that please see to it where you can get money. We all of us understand that money is an issue, but that should not stop us from the little, because you never know. Maybe a project that comes from Karas or Hartap might then eventually create more employment than the project that is in another region. And then Honorable Abraham, I believe yours was just more of amending what we have done, amplifying the job of the committee. And as we are always saying, this is not